right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 3 of the National Blackprelaw Conference. We hope that you've had such a great time so far, and it's going to continue on today. Today, we actually have one of our sponsors here this morning speaking with us. So I want to introduce Leah Cartagena, and she is the manager of social responsibility and will at Foundation at Will, Gottschall and Manges LLP, where she oversees the firm's social responsibility and charitable giving efforts. So we just thank you so much for being one of our sponsors and speaking with us this morning. And from that, I'm going to give you the floor.
Thank you so much, Tammy. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for coming to hear about the WILE Legal Innovators Program. As Tammy said, my name is Leah Cartagena. I'm the manager of social responsibility and WILE Foundation at WILE, Gottschall and Manges. For those of you who don't know a lot about WILE, it is one of what we would call Big Law. It's under the Big Law umbrella based in New York City. With operations globally. We have about 1,800 attorneys globally, and we have about 1,900, 1,800 support staff globally as well. So we're in that Big Law umbrella. So I want to talk to you today about the WILE Legal Innovators Program, which is the firm's one of the firm's largest philanthropic initiatives and the firm's first flagship philanthropic initiative. Where we, decided we wanted to be a lot more strategic about how we go out into the community and make an impact. So the WILE Legal Innovators Program is comprised of 10 emerging law school students annually. We partnered with 7 prominent law schools with the primary objective of addressing some of the most pressing and social and legal challenges in our communities today. So the impetus of this program really was, like I said, our firm wanted to be more strategic about the way that we're placing impact on our communities. So we really rallied our stakeholders and said, we have this idea around wanting to have incoming law school students go into nonprofit organizations to work for 1 year, do a year of service at one of the top tier nonprofit organizations that are in our orbit. Will you allow them, law schools, to defer this 1 year so that these incoming law school students are able to do that? Last year we had 5 law schools who were like, yes, absolutely. This year we partnered with 7 law schools. We're hoping to have 1 more before the applications open at the end of the month. But the idea is that, before you start law school, you take a pause and you go work at a nonprofit organization, and we fund the whole experience. So I'll tell you a little bit more about it. So the law schools that we've partnered with this year are Columbia, Duke, Georgetown, Harvard, NYU, Michigan Law, and Penn Law. So if you have gotten into one of these 7 law schools, then you are eligible to participate in this program. So what that means is that if you get into one of these 7 law schools, you are definitely going to go to one of these 7 law schools. It doesn't matter which one. We help you get that deferral that you need for that 1 year. So I'll give you the nitty gritty of the program. We fund 10 innovators a year. So this last year, it was our first year of the program. We actually had 8 innovators, and that's just the way things kind of shook out because of, sudden changes with COVID, and a couple of folks had to drop out. But the idea is that we're funding $1 million annually. And so that's about a $100,000 allocation for each innovator. So what that includes is a $50,000 salary that we give to the nonprofit organization where the where the innovator is placed, and they disperse that salary to you throughout the year. It's a $40,000 charitable donation to the nonprofit organization, but much of that is for you as well. So that will cover all of your benefits. So we want to make sure that if you wanted health insurance, that premiums aren't being deducted from your paycheck. So they're covering all of your health insurance. And then of course, they're also covering any kind of technology that you would need, either at home or in person if we ever get there. So they're covering kind of like the cost of onboarding you as well. And then whatever they don't use on kind of your experience, the nonprofit organization keeps on as a charitable donation, but that $40,000 really is an allocation mostly to you. And then once you start law school at one of those 7 law schools, we give the law school a $10,000 scholarship to go towards your tuition. So in the end, you'll see the $50,000 salary, you'll see the $10,000 scholarship, and you'll also have kind of a nice experience with good technology at these nonprofit organizations. So the jobs that we were able to place this year, and I'll talk more about our nonprofit partners for 2021, 2022 in just a moment, but the nonprofit partners that we were working with this year were really varied, but I think the idea was that we wanted the jobs to be weighty, right? So we don't want to bring incoming law school students who are thinking about their careers and their trajectory in their life. We don't want them to be, doing administrative work. All of our jobs, for those of us who are already kind of in the field and working regularly, every job has an element of administrative work, but we wanted to make sure that the jobs gave our innovators an opportunity to lead on something and really learn and understand what it meant to work at one of these high-profile nonprofit organizations that are moving the needle on the issues that they're working on. So we have an impact manager, for example, at the Earthwatch Institute, working on climate change and how the sustainable development goals that were set forth by the UN, how communities are applying efforts around climate change to the sustainable development goals. We have someone at the Innocence Project working as a post-conviction litigation paralegal. So really starting to dig into what it means to do legal work. We have someone at Oxfam doing work on migrant rights and developing a strategy on how do we, safely administer asylum cases, and how do we safely get people, once folks are getting across the border, how do we, treat them with care and make sure that they're receiving all of their human rights. So these are some of the types of jobs that we'll have available to you. Our nonprofit partners really are the beacons and the shining stars of this program, because they're the ones, I worked with them very hard to make sure that we are setting up experiences that are meaningful, and that we've had a couple innovators this year that were like, this is my dream job, and I didn't think I would be able to do this work until 20 years, after going to law school, after, being able to pay off my law school loans, then I thought I would circle back to an Oxfam or Human Rights Watch, but they're getting this experience, excuse me, early on, and so we're really proud of what the nonprofits have been able to offer to us. So the role of the nonprofit organization is, I talked about it a little bit. We determine the social innovation projects with the nonprofit organization. They serve as the innovator's employer. And then they participate in ongoing check-ins with us just to make sure that everything is going well. We want to make sure that you're having a really positive experience at these nonprofits, and so we don't just send you off to the nonprofits and say good luck. We want to make sure that we're checking in with them to make sure that the experience is fruitful, that you're enjoying it, and obviously we check in with the innovators as well. Our 2020, 2021 nonprofit partners are here listed. There's a couple of other ones in the works, but we have the ACLU Texas, Ashoka based in DC, the Aspen Institute as well, Earthwatch, Human Rights Watch, National Urban League, Youth Inc., Tahari Justice Center, Oxfam. Next year, we're also bringing on the Ms. Foundation for Women, which is an organization that was co-founded by Gloria Steinem. We're also bringing on Posse Foundation, which is an organization that focuses on bringing undergrad students into college as a posse. that are coming from low to middle income minority backgrounds. And so that organization puts them into predominantly white institutions as a posse, providing them resources and support along the way during their entire undergraduate experience. So if you haven't heard about them, they're an awesome organization. But I think what you'll see here, National Urban League is another one. I think I said Innocence Project. So what you'll see here about our nonprofit organizations is that they're some of the top tier nonprofit organizations across the US. The idea here is that even though we understand, I've worked in nonprofits, I understand the value of grassroots nonprofit organizations, but that's not the experience that we're trying to set up for our innovators. We want our innovators to go into nonprofit organizations that are essentially set up a little bit like a corporation, where you're going in, there's HR, there's great management. The work is, there's a strategic plan around the work. That way you're going into a nonprofit organization and you can hit the ground running. You have the resources that you need to complete your job. And you're going to have amazing mentors and people who have accomplished ridiculous things, honestly, at these nonprofits. The managers that will be managing the innovators in this upcoming year have done some phenomenal work, which you'll be able to see in our application. We list out in the application the detailed job descriptions. You'll know exactly what you're applying for. You'll know who your manager will be, which is, we want to give as much transparency as possible into what you'd be stepping into. So I talked a little bit about the application. The application for the WLI program will include the following. We want to know that you've gotten into one of those 7 law schools. So if you've gotten into more than one of the 7, you can just say, you know what, I got into NYU and I got into Penn. Here's my acceptance letter to both. I haven't decided yet which one I'm going to go to, but it's definitely going to be one of the 2. Then you are good to go. You don't have to decide before you apply. Then also we'll ask for a resume, a personal statement, and then a statement, and the personal statement will be about 500 words. We know you guys are going through LSAT prep, applying to law schools as well. So you're probably feeling like you've completed so many applications for so many things. So we try to make this as easy as possible. So the personal statement's about 500 words. A statement of purpose regarding the job that you're applying into. So we're going to have about 20 jobs available. Again, we're placing 10 innovators, but that we have so many jobs because we want to give you a first and second choice and give you kind of a wealth of options. So you'll say, you know what, I want to pick the job in the general counsel's office at Human Rights Watch, and this is why I think I would be a good fit, and this is how I would approach this job. 500 words, and then you pick a second choice, and then you do the same thing for your second choice nonprofit organization, just so we have an idea of where your interests are and what strengths you feel that you bring to the table with respect to the jobs that you're applying to. And then we'll ask for 2 reference letters. The reference letters should be about the program in particular. We offer some prompts about what we want your recommenders to address. So these aren't like law school recommendation letters. These are reference letters specific to the program. We do then review your applications. So my team, the Weil Legal Innovators team, will review your applications just to make sure it's looking complete and everything looks good. We then send off our applications to a selection committee. It's actually a steering committee. They don't make the selection. So they include members of Weil's Philanthropic Committee. They are partners at our law firm. It's us, the senior staff as well. There's some retired partners, and then there's some clients as well. But the clients are folks that they're the social responsibility folks at our clients, so they know exactly kind of what programs like these are about. And then also the partners who are on this committee. They're serving on nonprofit boards like the Rockefeller Brothers Foundation. So they're also, very plugged in. This was a way for us to kind of involve them as stakeholders, but also have trusted advisors who we know understand the landscape of nonprofit organizations and fellowship programs and scholarships because of the work that they've done outside of the firm. So what is the timeline? Our applications are opening. We're hoping by November 30th, but it might actually be that week, which then falls into December. but it will be around that time. The application deadline will be March 2021. And then in April, we'll have reviewed all of the applications and interviews will start taking place. So interviews will happen both with our team, which will be like really light touch just to check in and make sure that we have any outstanding questions answered. But then we also send you off to the nonprofit organizations for interviews because ultimately the choice is theirs. They have to decide who is a good fit for their organization. And then the deadline to accept the offers will be May 2021. And then you'll have a start date of July, end of July, August 2021 at the nonprofit organizations. In the month of July, we also do a kickoff celebration. We weren't able to do this year, but the idea is that we would fly everyone out to New York to our offices at Weil on 5th Avenue and 59th Street. And we would do a kickoff celebration where you get to meet your managers, you get to meet the other innovators and the other nonprofits, hear from some thought leaders in the space. We were co-hosting with the Ford Foundation this year, which was really nice. So they brought some expertise to the table as well. I know there's questions. I feel like I didn't cover everything. You can ask questions in the Q&A on WAHOVA. I see that there's a couple. What's the best way do we also partner with HBCUs? So that was a question. So we've actually tried to expand our pool of law schools that we partner with, and we've had to go to the management committee to get approval. They want to partner with T14 schools. So that is the top 14 law schools, which does not include an HBCU. And that was the decision of our management committee. But this program is open to everyone, right? So I'm here today because this program, if you're coming from an HBCU, this program is open to you, regardless of if you're in the field of if you're working in the field right now, and if you've already, have some years under your belt, of experience, this program is open to you. If you're coming straight from undergrad, regardless of what that undergrad is, this program is open to you. So, diversity is a very important part of our program. If you see the team of women that are leading this team, we're all, we all have so many different backgrounds. We're all women of color. And so we did advocate to partner with an HBCU this year as one of our law schools, and the decision was made in a different direction. But we want to make sure that we're accounting for that by obviously making sure that everyone knows this program is open to them regardless of their background, but also particularly if you're from an HBCU, then 100% we encourage you to apply. I think the rest of the questions, I'm out of time. So the rest of the questions, I think I can answer in the app. I don't know if everyone is able to see them. Tammy, yes? Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. I don't know if there's any burning questions if someone wants to ask before I drop off.
We do have to go to the next session.
Okay.
But anybody can ask, any of you guys can ask questions within the session Q&A, and she'll be able to answer those for you. So just thank you so much, Leah. This is such a great session, and wow, what incredible things you guys are doing. So we're glad that we got to show this to all the students here, and we're just grateful for your time and everything. So thank you, everyone. This is the end of this session. You can go ahead and start going to the next session, and we will see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.